Hello everybody. So today I wanted to do a video going through my quote-unquote luxury makeup collection and just kind of discuss my thoughts on luxury makeup, my favorite products, maybe some misses, and just kind of go through which ones I think are worth it. I think luxury makeup has really kind of blown up in these past couple of years in a really interesting way. I just feel like in the past with makeup, like the idea of people buying such extraordinarily expensive products would be so out of the realm of possibility that, you know, there wouldn't be as mainstream as they are. But I think nowadays that's definitely not the case, and these products do become, you know, they go viral, they're selling out everywhere, kids want them, the dupe culture for them is pretty crazy. So overall, I think it's a really interesting, just like kind of time in makeup in that way. I think some of them are exceptional and some of them are less so. So I just kind of wanted to talk about some of mine and the ones I've chosen to buy and maybe why, and yeah, we'll just kind of go through it. So the other thing is, like, what constitutes luxury is definitely going to vary. I tried to go for like the luxury like style brands and kind of move to include some of the like more expensive makeup brands, but again, it's going to vary. There's some even more brands that are considered more luxury than these, so you know, what can you do? So the first couple products I wanted to show are these two foundations I have. So this is the Chanel Le Beige Eau de Teint Water Fresh Tint, and then I have the Chantecaille Future Skin Oil-Free Gel Foundation. So these are the only two, actually there is a third. The other foundation I have that I consider luxury is Estee Lauder Double Wear Same Place Makeup. So these are the three luxury foundations I would consider to be luxury in my collection, and I think my thoughts on these are they range. I think the Chanel one I kind of bought on a whim, and I don't even think I bought it on sale really. I bought it using a gift card, and I think I was really just like intrigued by like the suspended pigments in them. The Chantecaille one I bought pretty much, I think like is 60% off on the Flip app, so I got a pretty substantial discount on it, and I didn't do a ton of research before getting it, but I got a fairly good discount on it that brought it from like $80, probably like $30. And then the Estee Lauder Double Wear was on sale in the Ulta 30 Days of Beauty or whatever they had for 50% off. So kind of a range of how I bought it, and I think the value of these are gonna range. I think the Chanel one, there's so many dupes for this now that this to me is kind of a miss to pay like $80 for a foundation that really is just a tint and, you know, has the same flaws as any other tint from a collection or a brand. And there's so many with this technology now that I think do it a little better. I don't think this is bad by any means, but I don't think this is worth it. And I frankly have been leaning towards the dupes for these sort of products a lot more now. The Chantecaille foundation is actually probably my favorite foundation in my collection. I think this is amazing for everyday wear. It just looks like nothing on the skin, but doesn't make you oily. It like perfects the skin without looking like makeup. It just is like a must-have. Like I probably use this every day at this point. It is so good, especially if you're someone who like enjoys wearing makeup and likes the effect of makeup but doesn't want to like be doing a full beat on your face every single day. I think this is so good, and it is one I would repurchase, which is crazy because I think it's the most expensive out of these, but it really is a standout. The Estee Lauder I also really like and think is a great foundation. I bought it off the recommendation of a beauty YouTuber I really like, and the sale made it very you know, you can justify like a $20 or $30 foundation versus like a $50 or $60, so that helps it make it feel a lot more doable. So Estee Lauder is probably on the cheaper end of these like quote-unquote luxury, but regardless, I think these are pretty good. I would say in terms of which ones are worth it, I think the Chantecaille and Estee Lauder are absolutely worth it. I have found No dupe whatsoever for the Chantecaille. The Estee Lauder one is probably more dupeable, and there's probably like really exceptional foundations out there, but this one just works so well and I really rely on it. The Chanel one, don't really need. So I think for foundation, luxury can be really interesting because for me, the Chantecaille foundation is just irreplaceable. Like I really don't think there's anything quite like it. So that's where I am happy to pay the full price tag, or perhaps like the 20% off price tag, because they have that deal a fair amount. It's kind of crazy to like say that and be, you know, still be willing to spend like $60 on like a makeup product, but regardless, those are my thoughts on these sort of luxury products in that category. Let's move to a couple other products we have here. We have the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Again, I'm considering Charlotte Tilbury and Pat McGrath luxury. They might be on the cheaper end of certain luxury, but this is, in terms of the setting spray, I bought this because I felt like the formula from the reviews really was something special. It genuinely made your makeup last a long time, and I'm not particular to other setting sprays that I've seen that are really hyped up, like the one size like aerosol spray. That is not my thing. So this to me kind of had like the formulation and would have a tangible difference of making your makeup last long. So it was worth the price tag for me to just like have this in my collection and know it works. And I do think it does work. So again, it's kind of a luxury product where I'm just like, it works and you know it works, so I don't feel crazy about buying it. I do have the smaller size, so I think that makes it a little more like, I don't know, like tolerable to buy, but yeah. The next product I have is this Pat McGrath Labs powder in baby pink. So this is it's a pretty hyped up formulation, and it's funny, I had wanted this powder for a long time, and when I heard they were coming out with the pink version, I was like, oh my god, I need it. However, after buying this is definitely a luxury product I would personally skip, particularly this pink color. I don't think it does the pink well, especially compared to some other luxury brands like Givenchy that does have like a really beautiful pink powder. This one just doesn't really satisfy that pink craving, so definitely not a huge favorite. And I think I've kind of realized with certain powders, like especially under eye powders, I thought this formulation would just be so good it would make it worth it, but I just don't use under eye powders, and I also feel like there are some really good dupes for this. It's funny because I was going to say like, oh, I just don't think powders are a product where you're really going to see a difference, and I do think that to some extent, but I will say I'm pretty intrigued by Charlotte Tilbury powders, so like I could see myself buying that in the future. But overall, like I do think they are pretty equivalent, so I don't really know if powder is going to be a place where I really recommend luxury products, because I just don't think the formulation is gonna stand out even if you are paying $60 for it. You know, I think like the pinnacle of how powder can look is it makes your makeup last forever and like completely mattifies you, and that's just not possible and is never going to be possible. So the idea of like paying more for like a better product when that better product is still not going to get you like the impossible. So that's kind of my thoughts on those. Then we'll look at some cheek products. So here are the 4 little cheek products we'll go through. So the first is this Gucci bronzer. So I had wanted this for ages, and I finally forked out the money. I think they had like a 10% off sale, and I was like, okay, I'm buying it. The reason I bought this is because I just feel like the shade and tone of this with this slight pink tint is just unique, and I don't think, I really could not find that in any other bronzer. So I finally just forked it out to get the Gucci one. I think the tone is what sets it apart, and for that reason I do recommend it if you're looking for like a pink tone bronzer. I just think this one is really phenomenal. There are other brands that do it, for example like Jones Road, but I just don't think it's mainstream enough to be able to find like a really great dupe yet. So that's one I do really like, and I think is a great product. Next we have this Westman Atelier contour stick. So this is in the shade Biscuit, and I bought this, it kind of was on sale on Black Friday, and I was like, ooh, like this is just so perfect for like pale girls. But I should have bought the smaller size. This is like $60 for this full size, And two, I should have just remembered, I do not really like cream products like this. I find it sits on the skin and you can just like rub your finger and you feel it. And because of that, it just never like sets into powder. And I also just think like contour is a product I really like and I would love a good one. But again, by nature, like it's kind of like the powder. You know, if you're gonna be drawing like a quote unquote shadow on your face, like the way for it to look the best is for it to be this like cool toned shadow. But then if you look at your face from the side, it's gonna look super weird and just like noticeable. So again, it's kind of like, oh yeah, this can be an amazing product, but it's like you're still trying to adhere to some, or like trying to get a product to work the best, and it's never gonna not look like makeup, if that makes sense. So it kind of is something where I'm just like, I don't think there's a huge need for it. Especially, I just think like cream products and tones, there's so many that are better and that I like better and that are in a different formulation. So this one, to me, not worth it. The next product I have are these two Hourglass blushes. So I have this one in Sublime Flush, and then this is Ethereal Glow. And what I really like about these blushes is I just feel like the colors are so unique. Like this like really glowy, like pink with a bit of like orange in there, like coral and a lilac. Looks so stunning there. And then Ethereal Glow is just this like gorgeous, like baby pink, and it just adds so much glow and sheen. So I love these blushes. And yes, I think there's plenty of great blushes from the drugstore, but I just think these colors and the way that they mix in their like illuminating powders with the blushes just makes these stand out. It's funny because I don't feel that way about the bronzers. I feel like there's plenty of bronzers that work very similarly and that are drugstore or just like regular that work just as well. But these blushes I think stand out so much, and the colors are just, they really are quite unique and they do something special in the face. So I love those blushes. Those are ones I would absolutely recommend that luxury price tag. Okay, let's do a quick eyes. So we have this Pat McGrath palette, this Charlotte Tilbury eyeliner, Charlotte Tilbury palette, and then this Estee Lauder or Armani mini. So Pat McGrath palettes, I think these are absolutely worth it. I did get this 50% off, so I'm a little biased, but these colors really are just like exceptional. Like, I don't know if you can see the reflect on that. It's so gorgeous. I think the mattes are really good too. They just, they really are like something special. So my thought on these is I think they're worth it if you can find like a color story you think you genuinely like every palette, because one, there's a lot of repetition in these palettes, also in the minis. I realize as I'm sitting here I have a quad I'm not showing you, but it doesn't matter. I think these are worth it if you like all the colors and you're gonna use all the colors, because, you know, as beautiful as this shade is, I don't think it's worth paying like $120 for just like one shade. And there's a lot of repetition from palette to palette. So just make sure you like what you're getting, because I think it's worth it then. And I also think she does a lot of like limited edition and like fun packaging, and those to me are not worth it. But, you know, if you find one you like, I think it's worth it. But, you know, maybe buying more than one gets a little like, These two Charlotte Tilbury products. So this one I've talked a lot about in videos recently. This is just a basic, this is the Super Nudes Easy Eye. It's a basic nude palette, but what really made this one stand out is that these are all satin shades, which is something I'm really into right now. So, you know, they're not going to be just a flat matte on the eye. They're going to have a little bit of sheen to just do something interesting. And I think that that's so special to have that with these like nude shades, and just, I don't know, I just think it adds something to them and does what a lot of nude palettes don't do. And again, if you're somebody who has a fair amount of makeup, you know, buying a nude palette is kind of like, why would I do that at this point? But this like nude satin palette to me really is something different. And I also believe satins are kind of only now just coming back, so this to me is worth it, but it might not be if you're not into satins. I don't think like the formula of Charlotte Tilbury is really that exceptional / different, but I think it does have like a sort of luxe feel to it. Next we have the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk eyeliner. So this is a similar thing to the bronzer, the Gucci bronzer. I bought this because I wanted a like deep burgundy that wasn't like obviously burgundy on the eyes. Like I think it is, but it's not gonna be like a red. It's gonna be more of a brown burgundy. I just think it's like a very special color, and I tried to buy dupes for it. I found some good dupes, but they weren't this exact color, and that's where I finally forked it out for the luxury version. Again, it's probably like this is like a $40 pencil, and to get the color I wanted and that I had already kind of seen I liked from like dupes, I think that's worth it. But I do think formula wise there's really nothing about this that is that special. So it kind of comes down again, like, you know, I think a lot of these luxury companies have just come up with a great, not just formula, but like colors that are very unique and they're very desirable. And this one I think is definitely a color. This is a mini of the Armani liquid eyeshadow. It is in the shade 11. I've actually talked about this for like disappointing makeup products, and I still feel the same way. Ugh. That actually looks insane. It's like dried up. Okay. It's just a very odd product because I think the color is beautiful, but the way it like reflects makes it look so patchy. Like it just blends out into this like really patchy, ugly mess. Like I think you can even see kind of like here, just looks like very patchy and gross, which just doesn't work on the eyes where you want it to look very uniform, because you know if it's like shifting like this it's gonna look so weird on the lid. I don't know, this just didn't work out even though I love the color, and I actually was like ready to buy the full-size version of this in a different color because I was so like down for the color. The formula is just not worth it, and this is again a very expensive product, like probably like $40, and it's just not worth spending $40 on something that isn't gonna work. I'm gonna include this in the eye section. This is the Pat McGrath like highlighter trio, and this is an example of something like formula wise great, you know, it's really good of course, but I bought these for the colors. These are the most amazing reflective shades, and I think that is something that high-end right now just has figured out a little bit more. And these are just very unique, like beautiful, smooth, either eyeshadow toppers or for like an iridescent, really fun highlighter. So that's another luxury product. It took me a long time to decide if I wanted to buy, but I just realized there's nothing like it in the market. And again, I think that's where luxury really shines, is making these incredible quality products. And for Pat McGrath in particular, I think it is a brand where it's like, you know, their eyeshadows are going to be good. Like they have like proven and excelled in them. So yeah, quick intermission. I realized I forgot this. This is a Pat McGrath blush, and this is in the shade Fleur Boutique. I bought this when the like sugar plum fairy look was super popular, and it's a really pretty shade, but to me this is nothing special. I think there's a million great blush formulas right now, and I don't know, this just really doesn't do it for me. So a luxury product that's like pretty, I enjoy it and I'm glad I have it, but I'm almost positive you could find a dupe for this that is like a quarter of the price. So that's another one that doesn't really stand out. Couple last lip products I have. So I have these two liners. These are from Pat McGrath. I think the formula of these are good, of course. I don't have any complaints with them, but I think the real standout here are the colors. I just don't think another brand has made like an exact dupe of these, and for me, like the colors are worth it to buy luxury for. This one needs to be sharpened, but this is in contour, and then this one is more dupeable, I would say, but it's in Starstruck, and it's just this really beautiful pink. I also think the formula of this is a bit of a standout as well, because it is like very creamy and it's very like easy to apply, but it still has that kind of pull that makes it like last a long time, and it's not going to budge in a way that other products don't. So I do like the color and the formula of these. I'm happy to buy more if they have more amazing colors. So I think the formula is great, color's great, can be worth it to buy luxury. We have this Pat McGrath lipstick in Nude Venus. So this is an example of, I love the color of this. The color of this is just like awesome. It's like a nude pink, but it has a bit of a cool undertone. So for me, that works really well. Packaging's beautiful. The only unfortunate thing for this is the formula doesn't really work on my lips. My lips are very textured. So I think this is a situation where, as much as I love the color, I just think this formulation isn't really worth it. And I think there's so many amazing drugstore formulas out there that it's really hard to recommend this, even though I do really like the color and find the color to be pretty unique. Just can't recommend it to buy again. And there are so many colors I love from this line, but it just doesn't work on me. So, luxury makeup has the same flaws as drugstore. Then we have some lip gloss options. So again, we have this Pat McGrath formula. I have this one in Heavy Petal, and then this is in Pale Fire Nectar. The Pale Fire Nectar one is really fun, but it really is just kind of a glittery, clear gloss at the end of the day. And then this one is a pretty bright, very intense color. So in my mind, I like these, but I think there are better drugstore lip glosses. There's nothing about these that really stand out to me. There's so many colors of lip glosses and oils now that I just don't think any color is really this undupable. And the formula to me is just not my favorite. I do think that really can range with this kind of product. Everyone's gonna have their preferences, but for me, not worth the price tag. I just think there's a lot of really good options out there. Then the last product I have are these Hourglass. These are like the push balms. So I have the shades Desire and Lure. I really like these. I just think they look really good on the lips, and they are very smoothing, which again, I need. And I feel like they have a really big color selection, and a color selection that isn't so like warm oranges, which I think a lot of these other colors do. But I just think these look awesome. They have amazing pigmentation. They're very, they're not patchy at all, and they have that like smoothing glossy effect. So these are examples of formulations that I think are a standout, and that's especially crazy when you realize how many of these like click up gloss pens there are, but something about those really stand out to me, so I would recommend those. So as a quick wrap up, I think a lot of this is going to be preference. I've clearly, spent some money on luxury, but I still own a lot of drugstore. I still really enjoy finding dupes for luxury, and I feel like I really fork it out for the luxury price tag when I can't find a good dupe for it from the drugstore. So felt like it would be interesting to just go through and kind of like really reflect on them and see what I think, if I'd buy them again, if I'd buy other formulations. There are definitely some regrets in here, and I think the fact some of them are still in my collection is because I'm not going to throw away like a $60 foundation. I'm going to try and use it up. But I think, I don't know, I definitely wouldn't recommend all of these as like must-haves. They're fun to have in the collection, and I like them now that I have them, but I think that there are equivalent, if not better, products from the drugstore. So yeah, I think luxury makeup is interesting. I think very few of these I would say are like so exceptional. There is no equivalent in the drugstore, and I could really like pick that out on, I think there might be one product that comes to mind, and that would be the Chantecaille foundation. But most of these are just, maybe a good formula, maybe really good colors, really unique colors. And, if I had more time and effort, I could find probably a lot of equivalents. But yeah, I don't know. I think luxury is also fun just to have an experience. And I think there's a lot less misses with luxury makeup, especially because I feel like there's so much reviews on it, and a lot. Like I just think it's easier to kind of find good makeup in luxury. Well, sometimes, with drugstore, a lot of people are like, oh, this is good for drugstore. Well, I don't know if people do that as much with luxury. So anyways, long video, but hopefully just somewhat interesting just to kind of go through these luxury products. Hopefully I picked out luxury enough products, because I know there could be some debate. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about any good luxury products in your collection worth the purchase, and I'll see you guys next time.